What up, gamers? It's your boy Will 777JP back at it again with another video. Now, as you guys have all heard the news, Concord is shutting down and PlayStation is going to be issuing refunds. So I am recording this from my phone with screen recorder, showing you guys the article here. The article just basically tells you how September 6th is the last day that you'll be able to play Concord, and it gives you instructions on how to get your money back from wherever retailer you bought the video game from, and just giving you instructions. Um, I wasn't gonna make this video today because, like my boy, shout out Henry Heck, give him a follow on X and YouTube. He was gonna take a day to think about it, gather his thoughts, and I wanted to do something similar. It's been a few hours now, and been listening to some of the conversations happening all over the internet in regards to this game. And the first thing I want to say about this is that this sucks, and not just because it's Concord, but any video game out there. I mean, I had similar feelings when Babylon Fall got shut down. Even though I had no attachment to that game whatsoever, I didn't buy it, nothing. It was made by the studio that I really don't care about. Same thing with Concord. Similarly, I don't buy it, I don't own it. I do care about the studio that made it and the publisher, which is Sony. But I also felt empathy. Is what I guess what I'm trying to say. I felt empathy for Babylon Fall. I felt empathy. I feel empathy for Concord, and I feel empathy for all the live service games that have been shut down in just a few months after they released. Now, I forgot who said this. I'm sure numerous people have said this in regards to how the video game industry is one of the few industries in the world, if not the only one, I guess, where you can do a bad product and people still will come to your aid and try to support you and say, oh, it's okay, brush it off, keep going. But the reason is because we are fans. We are the hardcore gamers, the casual gamers. We love what these people provide, and we know how hard they work on these things. And that's the sad part about Concord, is that there is a whole bunch of people, a whole studio full of people that took 7, 8 years to make this game. And it's just very unfortunate that it had to end this way. I don't know quite what they'll do. I can guess and theorize all day long of what PlayStation should do in regards to this game. But, I only played a little bit of the game. I played the beta when it first came out. And, I mean, it felt up. The game was polished mechanically. The game is sound. I think they have a very strong foundation. I think that if they take that game and reskin it, repackage it, rename it, listen to the gamers and repurpose the game, they can find some success in it. And I think that the anime, idea that they had with the game as far as building the lore up, I think was a decent idea. But we're gamers, we want to play a game. We don't want to watch movies. The reason we want to watch movies after the game is because we love the IP so much that we want more of it. But giving us television before the game is a success or has enough time for people to fall in love with it, I think did a big disservice to the game. I think that money and those resources would have been way better spent if they would have created a small campaign for the game, like a Call of Duty type campaign. Just a few hours, 3, 4, 5 hours. Helping you understand the world, the characters, build up some of that lore, and maybe drop something, quarterly or monthly or however they want to do it. And that, I think, would have satiated the hunger that a lot of the players felt was missing with Concord. Me myself being a single player gamer, I would have bought the game if it had a campaign, even though I probably would have never touched the multiplayer stuff. But I'll give you another example: Ghost of Tsushima. I had no intentions of playing the multiplayer stuff until I played Ghost of Tsushima and I saw how great the game was, and I wanted more of that because the gameplay was addicting. And even though I wasn't playing as Jin Sakai, the gameplay was strong enough where I wanted to keep playing it, and also the art style and everything else that went along with that. So I played the multiplayer aspect of Ghost of Tsushima, and I think that Concord really suffered from that. Like everybody's been saying, it's they chased the fad, and unfortunately the fad was 8 years too late. I kind of agree with that statement to a point, because even in today's world, there's still like services being created and made that are successful. I mean, PlayStation dropped probably the biggest one this year with Helldivers. So I don't want to use that just as an excuse to say, well, they're chasing fads. No, because there's live service still coming out. They're still finding success. And even the live service games that have been around for a long time, the Fortnites, the Call of Duties, Valorant. Valorant's a little bit different because it just came in a console, but all these live service games, they're still kicking, they're still going strong. So I think that there is room in the genre to continue to make these games, but I think that you really have to be purposeful and specific with your content in order for it to reach a level of success that you're going to be happy with, because there's so much to pick from. And what you're essentially doing is you're trying to take people from some other game and have them play your game. Otherwise, you have to create something that is so phenomenal that you have people like myself, who are single player, narrative driven players, to try to jump on board to this new type of game that they have been staying away from for a long, long time. But in my closing thoughts, this video I made just out of the blue. I'm still at work, I'm doing it from my cell phone. I do feel empathy for Concord. I think that there is a place for Concord to be here. There's people that have played the game, that love the game, that they were satisfied with the gameplay, and I feel bad for those people, right? Because they are invested in the game, and they definitely saw the potential in the game. As far as the side of PlayStation and what PlayStation is going to do and how this hurts them and whatnot, I just wrote on the Discord for Thrifty's Discord, which you guys should definitely join, and also join my Discord at Will777JP. Is yes, this probably will not hurt PlayStation. PlayStation doing refunds is probably the best decision they could have made, because the game is already dying. So it was going to get to a point relatively soon where people were going to try to play the game, and to find a match was going to take a while. So the way that I see it is, PlayStation took the hit right now to get good PR, public relations, out of this situation, instead of waiting till the game dies, and then now people are really going after Sony because they just spent the money to buy the game not that long ago, and now they can't even find a match. So I think that PR-wise, this was a good move for PlayStation. I don't care what anybody says. If the guess of this game costing 200 million plus, and even if it's not, even if it's less than that, but the fact is they spent 7-8 years making this game, I don't care how rich PlayStation is or Sony is, this hurts. That's 8 years of development time, 8 years of resources, and 8 years of $200 million that they spent on this game. That hurts. I am in business. If I lose, let's say, $2,000, yes, I'm not going to go bankrupt. Yes, I can write it off as a tax expense, not a big deal, but it still hurts. If I lose $200,000 as a company as a whole, there's definitely going to be meetings. CEOs are going to want to be talking to me and say, what the hell happened here? I may even lose my job over 200 grand. And I'm just using that number as a comparison to what I think maybe 200 million is to a multi-billion-dollar company like PlayStation, who I think is worth north of $100 billion, right? That's still a lot of money. Just because a company made billions, 2 years ago, doesn't mean that all that money is still sitting in the bank somewhere. No, that money gets repurposed every single year. That's why they come out with budgets and plans, because that money gets invested right back in the business. So yes, let's just give you an example. They made $5 billion last year. They don't have $5 billion in the bank. They took $1 billion, invested in research and development. They took another $1 billion, bought some studios. They took $1 billion, help out, Sony Pictures. They took out 500 million, help out Sony Music. And yes, they kept a little bit of that in the bank, like any responsible business will do. And even you in your personal life, when you get paid, you put a little bit away for rainy days and emergencies. But it still hurts. So people who are saying that this is just a drop in the bucket for Sony, yes, it is, but it still hurts. That's a shit ton of money. We're talking about a whole studio that spent nearly a decade making a game. But either way, guys, those are my quick little thoughts on this. If I come up with anything else, I'll drop another video. But I have empathy, and not for the people in the studios. I mean, there's some people in that studio that I can't even think of the name right now that are kind of shitty people. The way they talk to the fans, the way their reactions to the numbers, like they weren't humble about it, and they know who I'm talking about, right? They're just shitty fucking people. And I'm not talking about for those kind of people. I'm talking about for the majority of everybody else who came to work every single day, who did what they had to do, problem solved, created this thing. Once again, Concord is a polished, mechanically sound game. This isn't like no piece of shit game that's buggy, that the gameplay mechanics suck. This is not this at all. At all. So I also want to defend Concord for a little bit. Even though I completely hate multiplayer games, I want to defend it a little bit because they did something that not a lot of developers can do, the quality that it did it at. They were just lacking imagination. And you know what? You can fill in that. You can hire that out. You can contract that out. You can there's sources out there for you to get the imagination that you need. The creativeness. You can get that. You can achieve that. But mechanically being sound in your game is one of the biggest problems the industry has been having this generation. Games coming out buggy, broken, not working. Look at Cyberpunk, one of my favorite games of all time. Cyberpunk, look how it came out the first year. The first 2 years. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. They still kept their putting into work. They got it to the state that the game is at now. But that is the biggest problem we're having as an industry as a whole, is games are not coming out polished and how they're supposed to, which is what we expect from PlayStation. That's what we expect from Sony, right? Astro Bot's dropping in a couple days. We know that game's going to be a banger. We know it's going to be polished. We know it's going to have, no bugs. We know this because that's what we come to expect from Sony first-party games. Conquer was no different, except for some of the artistic choices and the other complaints that people have. But either way, let me know what you think in this video. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I an idiot? What do you think? Hit that like, subscribe, share this out. I want as many people to hear this as I can. Once again, sorry for the video and the way that I recorded it, but I'm at work and I really want to get this off my chest. So forgive me for that. But either way, hit that like, subscribe. Let's try to get to 100 subscribers before the year ends. I would really appreciate that. Y'all have a good day and keep it gaming.